delicatessen and no monkey business. I'm sending down the money, and you shouldn't lose it. Here's the money.
Yeah, but where's the note, Mom?
Look, 18 years old you were last Sunday. It's time you used your brains. Now listen, I want you should get for 40 cents herring, for 15 cents potatoes, and for 10 cents bread. Now tell Mama what brings.
For 40 cents, I want some herring, and for 15 cents, spuds, and for 10 cents, bread.
What is this spuds? Spuds, what is it?
All right, potatoes.
See? That's a nice boy. You got more brains than your father said you had. You got something for me, Mr. Holmes?
Nothing today for you, Mrs. Levine. Sorry.
Thank you.
Miss O'Brien, I believe here's something you've been waiting for. A letter from Eddie.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Holt. I'll say Hail Mary for you. Eddie's coming home. He's got his discharge from the army.
Isn't that wonderful? I am so glad, Mrs. O'Brien. Did you hear that? Eddie O'Brien is coming home.
He is?
That's right, Colleen. And here's a letter for you from him.
My dear Colleen, I will be home in the near future, and I'm sorry to say the prospect is not a pleasant one. I haven't written you for months because, well, there's no use beating around the bush any longer. Some things have happened which I am sure would make our marriage a ghastly mistake. You know I'd give my right arm rather than hurt you, but reality is something we both must face. And I'm sure you'll understand when you see me again. Regretfully yours, Eddie.
And I'll send you a telegram telling you when I'll arrive. Then he says, and if you don't have some corned beef and cabbage waiting for me, I'll tell the neighborhood you're not Irish at all at all. Don't that sound like Eddie?
Indeed it does.
Sure would be nice to have him back patrolling the neighborhood.
Yes, and I don't suppose it'll be long before wedding bells will be ringing for him and Colleen.
No, right away I'm thinking. I must go see what Eddie wrote to her. What's the matter, darling?
I don't know, Mom. I was so happy when Eddie's letter came. And then
what, dear?
Something's happened to Eddie, Mom. He doesn't want to marry me.
No, Colleen, you must have misunderstood what he meant. Surely he would have said something about it in his letter to me.
He didn't?
No. He seemed glad to be coming home, said he had some special hugs and kisses for his loved one, and would I cook him some corned beef and cabbage? Now, don't cry. You're mistaken about Eddie not wanting to marry you. I'm sure he loves you with his whole heart.
Didn't say Eddie had stopped loving me. I don't think he has.
Then what are you crying about? You should be the happiest girl in the world because he's coming home to you.
Oh, Mom, you don't understand. He didn't tell you because he didn't want to worry you. But didn't you see that he was writing from a hospital? Couldn't you read between the lines that he was badly hurt? Maybe he's blind.
I don't believe it. And I won't believe it unless I see it with my own eyes. Now dry your tears. And let's have faith.
Hey, did you hear the news? Eddie O'Brien's coming home from the war.
Yeah, we heard about it.
Yeah, and he's a hero, too. Did you hear about all the medals he got for bravery?
Don't say.
Yeah, and they're throwing a big party for him, and everybody's invited.
We can hardly wait.
Boy, it's going to be keen.
How do you like that? Who'd want a glad hand of copper?
Not me, the way he used to push us around.
Me neither. I suppose he'll be around patrolling the neighborhood again.
Yeah, he's probably learned a lot of new ways to shove us around. Oh, hi, Pat.
Hi, Pat.
Did you hear about Eddie O'Brien coming home? And we were invited to the welcome home party, too.
Yeah? Not me.
Well, how are you going to get out of it with him going to marry your sister?
The marriage is off.
What do you mean off?
She just got a letter from him giving her the brush.
I guess all them medals they gave him made him too big for his pants.
Not a no-good rat. Who does he think he is?
Why, somebody ought to give him a good swift push in the mush.
Well, maybe Colleen's getting a break. I don't see how she fell for a flat foot in the first place.
Me neither. But something ought to be done about it. Giving a raw deal to a nice gal like Colleen.
Don't worry, something is going to be done about it. We'll give him a welcome he'll never forget. Now, look. Boy, they look just like Rembrandt's. Couldn't have done better myself. Boy, will that copper blow his top when he sees this. Got all the dope, fellas. Train gets in at 10:30. Ought to get him home about 11 o'clock. Well, look, here's what we're going to do. We'll get to the alley. Say, you go first, I'll go second. You go third. No, you're small. You stand in the end.
I'm so excited, I don't know whether I'm coming or going. So am I. I feel like I'm going to fall apart. This is the train he told me to meet. He will, Mom, don't worry. Maybe he's on the second section. Tell me you'd been hurt. You never used to keep anything from me.
No, I didn't want to worry you, Mom. Let's not talk about unpleasant things, huh? Let me look at you. Oh, gee, you look swell. I didn't expect you to meet me, huh?
Nothing could have kept me away. Oh, Eddie, I'm so glad to see you. Aren't you glad to see me?
Of course I'm glad to see you. I was hoping you'd wait until I got kind of used to being home again. I thought you'd understand from my letter.
Don't, Eddie. Please.
Pardon me, Sergeant, but don't you think I should get a cab for you and your folks?
Oh, yeah, but first I want you to meet my mother and Colleen Flanagan.
I'm awful glad to know you, Mrs. O'Brien. You too, Miss Colleen.
I'm pleased to meet you.
So am I, Corporal. It was nice of you to come along and look after Eddie.
Corporal Channing is my convoy. The government provides one for every GI who can't get home on his own legs.
I'm afraid the long trip has been very tiring to the sergeant. You'd better get him home.
I'd been hoping to avoid talking to you right away, Colleen. I wanted more time to think things over. But now that you've seen me, we might as well face the facts. You're engaged to be married to a war veteran who's permanently disabled.
Well, what difference does that make when I love you?
What difference? You can't live on love alone, dear. When a man marries, he expects to make a living for his wife. Provide her with a home. That's his obligation. I haven't heard of him rehiring any cops to patrol her beats and crutches.
But there are other jobs, Eddie.
Oh, sure. Charity jobs for GIs in wheelchairs after they take their rehabilitation course. I don't want to be pitied, I tell you.
Well, I could help. I'm still working, you know.
No, no. If I can't support you, I won't be a millstone around your neck. The sensible thing for you to do would be to find somebody else.
Eddie, I'm not going to have you saying such a thing ever again. Now, you listen to me. You're the man I promised to wait for. Well, all right, I did wait for you, and you're home now. And I'm not going to have you feeling sorry for yourself or me. After all, you're not the first soldier that's come home bitter and disabled and helpless. There have been thousands of them. And they've all pulled through with the help of the women that love them. And you can, too. I know you can. Darling, don't you understand? I love you. And I want you. Just as you are, for better or for worse. And I want to help you all the way. Of course, if you don't love me,
But I do love you, darling. I've never stopped loving you. It's just that I don't want to be a burden to you.
That's all I wanted to know. The rest won't be hard if we put our hearts and our efforts together. Remember the chicken farm we planned to have over in Jersey? The little white house with the green shutters and the barbecue you were going to build for me? Well, we're going to have all those things, Eddie. I know we will.
I couldn't have said it any better myself, Colleen. Whoever heard of an Irishman admitting he was licked?
I guess you're both right, Mom. I'm not licked yet. But I do have some pride. Loving you as much as I do, I'm not going to marry you until I'm sure we can both make the grade.
All right, stubborn. But I'm telling you right now, no more bitterness and brooding.
Okay, I'll try not to.
But you guys know what to do, don't you?
Yeah, boy, you got it straight. He should be here any minute. Hey, here comes the taxi.
Come on.
Hello, folks. Mrs. Levine, you look wonderful. You got thin.
Thank you, darling. Can you look good?
Hey, Pat, you didn't tell us he was all crippled up.
Gee, I didn't know about it. Guess he's a hero, all right. Yeah, and he looks pretty sick, too.
Yeah, you can't make fun of a guy that's wearing a Purple Heart.
He's gonna need some help up them tenement stairs, too. Well, what are we waiting for?
Yeah, come on, let's go.
Boy, you look swell, eh?
Yeah.
You look a lot better in this uniform. Hey, it's a long way up there. What about a little help? Get those things.
Yeah.
Come on, you ready?
Come on.
Take it easy now. Don't hurt him. Take it easy. Oh, he's such a good boy. Come on. Take it easy. We're going right.
What's that? Listen, I'll turn around. It's slowly. Okay, easy, fellas.
Oh. Thanks, fellas, for helping me up those stairs. I was wondering how I was going to make it. Pat, where'd you get all that muscle? You've grown up since I've been away.
I guess we've all grown up, Mickey. Remember me?
Sure. You're Mickey Popopulous. Sammy Levine. Gus Smith. Oh, yeah. Tony Albertini. How could I forget you young hoodlums, the way you used to get in my hair?
Do you smell anything familiar, darling?
If I smell anything familiar, I can smell it getting off the train. Corned beef and cabbage.
Maybe it's my cheese blintzes you're smelling.
And my apple strudel.
And my spaghetti.
And my salad with wine and garlic grassa.
Oh, boy, what a treat.
Well, I guess wedding bells will soon be ringing for you and Colleen, huh?
Well, you
Well,
see...
not very soon, Mrs. Schmidt. You see, Eddie will only be here for 30 days. Then he has to go away for more medical attention and a rehabilitation course. So we've decided to wait for a while. If you'll excuse me, I'll make an extra pot of coffee for the party.
So the cop turned out to be a heel after all. What do you think, Pat?
I don't know, but I'm sure gonna find out. You guys wait for me outside. Was that speech you made over there just a stall? Did Eddie call off the wedding?
Why, no, Pat. Whatever gave you that idea?
Well, then why are you crying?
I've just been worrying too much about what the war did to it.
Is he always going to be a cripple?
Afraid so. He doesn't feel it would be fair to me to get married until he's sure he can earn a living.
Well, you'd be willing to keep on working, wouldn't you?
Of course, I'd be glad to. But he's got the idea he might become a burden and I'd end up having to support him.
I don't suppose they'd take him back on the police force, would they?
He said they might give him a desk job out of pity, but, well, you know, Eddie, he's too proud to accept charity.
The war sure gave you a punch below the belt.
Eddie had his heart set on having a home when we were married. We hoped to get a chicken farm in Jersey, but...
Gee, a chicken farm would be a swell place for a crippled guy, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. If we had the down payment, we could make it pay for itself in time. Chicken farm costs a lot of money these days.
How much?
$15,000, $20,000.
Say, it does take a lot of money. Ought to be some way we could get it, though.
That's what I told Eddie.
Crying isn't going to do you any good, sis. Besides, you're supposed to be making some coffee. See you later.
Hey, what'd you find out?
Plenty. Eddie wants to marry Colleen, but being crippled the way he is, he doesn't think he'd be giving her a square deal.
You mean he ain't ever gonna get any better?
No. If he ever wants to go anyplace, he's got to use crutches or a wheelchair.
Oh, that's a tough break. I'll say. Does that mean the wedding's off?
Afraid so. He doesn't want to marry Colleen and let her support him.
Well, you gotta hand it to a guy like that. He's a right guy.
You said it. There's lots of guys that like to sit around in a chair all day and let their wives work for them.
The government or somebody ought to help a guy like Eddie.
The government is going to help him, but it isn't enough to support a wife and his mother and buy a chicken farm.
A chicken farm? Gee, that's a swell racket for a gimpy guy. How much does a farm cost?
About 15 or 20 grand.
That's a cinch. Why, he'd have a long, white beard down to his knees before he could glom onto that much.
He doesn't need all of it. All he needs is a down payment. The farm will pay for itself in time.
Hey, maybe we could take up a collection in the neighborhood. That's a brilliant idea, Egghead. Can't even collect a pretzel around here. Anyhow, the cops wouldn't hold still for it. They'd think we'd be working a racket.
Besides, Eddie wouldn't take charity. He doesn't want pity.
Gee, if we could just find some way to get hold of the $2,500 and lend it to him.
Yeah.
Boys, the eats are ready.
Okay. Hey, eat.
Hey.
Oh, you'll never make that shot. Never missed one yet. Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, I got an idea how we can help out Eddie and Colleen. Here, get a load of this.
Daring bank holdup. The Columbus Circle Exchange Bank was robbed this afternoon a few minutes after closing time by the Sorecki gang. So Sorecki holds up another bank. What's that got to do with helping Eddie O'Brien?
Read on, pal, and you'll see what I mean.
Rewards for the capture of the bandits now total more than $10,000.
That's the idea. 10 grand for the capture of Shadow Sorecki.
Oh, what an idea. All we got to do is find him in the biggest city in the world and then capture him.
It's a cinch. We'll walk up to Mr. Shadow and say, would you mind coming down to the cooler with us? We want to collect 10 G's on you. Or should we say, please?
Why, he'd shoot us so full of bullet holes we'd look like Swiss cheese.
That's right, Tony. He's a killer.
Well, I guess you're right, but just an idea anyway. I think I'll have a workout.
Let's watch him.
Let's take it in, fellas.
I'll see you in a minute.
Okay.
Hold on a minute, Tony. Look, you've been training for a crack at one of the preliminary boys at the East Side Arena, right?
So what?
Well, it gave me an idea.
What idea?
K.O. Burke's training for his next fight at the Bowery AC, ain't he?
Uh-huh.
Well, part of the ballyhoo for that fight is a standing offer of $200 for any fighter who can stay 3 rounds with Burke.
Oh, that's great. I come in the ring with the East Side champ and get my head knocked off for $200 when we need $5 grand. Oh, that's a swell idea.
Tony ain't had enough experience to sling leather with a pro. Oh, look, you guys are jumping to conclusions. I don't expect Tony to fight him. All he's got to do is keep covered up long enough to get the 200.
Yeah, Burke's got too much dynamite for Tony. He'd flatten him out like a rug.
What makes you think so?
Listen, Tanker, there'd be just 2 blows struck. Burke striking you, and you striking the floor.
Blind him with footwork.
Don't be too sure about that, Mickey. Tony's got a pretty good defense. Besides, if he finds he can't last the 3 rounds, he can always clinch with him and tell him he wants the money for Eddie O'Brien.
I think you got a keen idea, Pat. After all, it's no skin off Burke's nose if the AC donates $200 to a war hero.
That's right, Tony. Be a good start for Eddie's farm.
Okay, I'm game. I'll take the chance.
Good boy. Now, don't let Burke's reputation scare you. He's only got 1 pair of dukes the same as you have. So don't lead to him, and remember to keep your chin covered.
I won't forget. If you do forget, you're a dead duck.
So that's a new pigeon over there, huh? Yeah, he's a good-looking kid, too. Too bad he hasn't got good sense. K.O. murdered him. Yeah, it's funny what a young squirt will do for a chance at a couple of C notes. You're right.
He's only an amateur.
Hey, he looks like he's in good shape, don't he?
No better than you are, chum. And no tougher, that's a cinch.
Friends, the Bowery Athletic Club offers for your entertainment a 3-round boxing contest under the Marquis of Queensberry rules between K.O. Burt, lightweight champion of the East, and battling Tony Albertini of the Houlihan Club. If the challenger is on his feet when the bell ends the 3rd round, he will receive $200 with the compliments of the Bowery Athletic Club.
All right, you boys know the rules. I want a fair fight. No low blows. When I tell you to break, I want you to break clean. On the back to your corners, shake hands. When the bell rings, come out fight.
Go out there. What's the matter with you? You got a yellow streak? Oh! He didn't carry it out now. Come on, get him in. Come on, hit him. What's the matter with him? Keep that chin covered. Come on. Keep coming on. Hit it. Hit him. Come on, get it. Watch it. Come on. Come on, watch that. Come on, keep covered.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Feeling all right, Kale? Sure, flattening like a rug this round. Oh, boy.
Hey, what fell on me?
Nothing, Bert hung a right on your chin.
Knock me out? No, the bell saved you.
Don't forget the strategy we planned either, else it's goodbye that 200.
Yeah, and if he corners you get on the ropes, quit with it right away and give him the old sales talk. Okay.
That's all right. You know, we can hit her up down.
Dazzling with footwork, Tony. That's it, Tony. Hit him again.
Watch that open.
Watch it, boy. Right, Tony, watch him.
One, two.
Boy, he's sure dazzling with footwork.
You know, when I was a kid, my ambition was to be a ferry boat captain so I could ride on one all day long. I guess a guy never grows up, huh?
You're telling me. Oh, won't it be swell when we can live in a house instead of a tenement and have trees and flowers and a vegetable garden?
Chickens and cows. Well, you two come down out of the clouds and tell me where we're going.
Here, 15433 White Oak Road. You better inquire the service station. Oh, isn't it wonderful, Eddie?
I'll say. Life would be worth living in a place like this.
Imagine getting away from the noise of Avenue C. Get a load of this fresh air.
Good morning, folks. Interested in buying a chicken farm?
We'd like to, if we can find one we can afford. You've got a nice-looking place here.
Martha and I think so. It's just the thing for a young couple. And it provides a good living, too.
I'm Eddie O'Brien.
Pleased to meet you, Eddie. I'm Sam Jenkins.
This is my fiancée, Miss Flanagan, and her brother, Pat.
How do you do?
Glad to know you, folks. If you'll follow me, I'll show you what we got here. Here's our two-car garage with a storage room in back.
Eddie, look at that wonderful patio with the barbecue.
Just the way we'd planned it. Mr. Jenkins, you must be a mind reader.
You folks ain't seen anything yet. Why, this place is so completely equipped you could move right in without spending a dime.
You mean you're going to sell it the way it is?
Yes, sirree, the whole kit and caboodle. Come on and I'll show you the rest of it.
Thank you for showing us your home, Mrs. Jenkins. It's just beautiful.
You're welcome, dear.
Yes, would you give us some idea of what you want for your place?
Well, we're asking $20,000. One half cash as a down payment. You could pay the balance off like rent.
That's very reasonable. Do you mind if we talk it over for a minute?
What do you think, Eddie?
I'm sorry we came. Where are we going to get $10,000?
Well, won't the government give you some on the Bill of Rights?
If I've got $4,000, the government will guarantee a bank loan of another $4,000. If I had the $4,000.
You know, for the minute, I guess I forgot that we were just looking. Oh, Eddie, I never wanted anything so much in all my life.
Me too, darling.
Sam, don't you think $20,000 is too much for this place?
Well, Ma, it cost us... Did I say 20,000?
Yes.
Of course it's too much. Beg your pardon, Mr. O'Brien, but my wife and I have been talking things over, and we've decided that, well, we want to take that trip that we've been looking forward to now that the war's over. Trip around the world. So we've decided to let you have this place for $15,000.
We'll be seeing you in a couple of days, huh?
Fine.
Goodbye, Mr. Jenkins.
Bye.
Good luck. Goodbye.
Hey, the new driver that radio. What's that sound like? You can't make that. It's good, isn't it? What are you trying to... Hey, it's a roast in the stack. Crock pot didn't make it, see? Yours, sir. Hiya, Pat. Hi. Hi. Hey, did you find a chicken farm?
Did we? The swellest layout you ever saw.
Yeah, for how much?
That's the rub. 15 grand for everything. 5 G's down. If Moolah only grew on trees, we'd know what to do. I wish you guys could have seen that place. Perfect spot for a wounded vet.
Gee, I wouldn't mind living on a farm myself. Hey, wouldn't it be swell eating all the eggs you want and drinking milk right from a cow?
We interrupt this program for a special bulletin. Stand by. About a half hour ago, armed robbers believed to have been led by Shadow Sorecki attempted to hold up the Park Avenue Savings Bank. The attempt was frustrated by the bravery of a girl employee who sounded the burglar alarm, causing the robbers to flee. When last seen, they were heading in the direction of the Williamsburg Bridge in a black sedan, believed to have been a stolen car.
Boy, if we could only catch them guys, our words would be all over. Yeah, if I'll take vanilla. Yeah, stand back. Stand back. Give me room. You're a minor. Stand back. You stand back, too.
Here, I'm paying the rent, but I'm grumbling.
Why, what's the matter, Mrs. Levine?
Always I pay my rent on the dot. And the sausage what should be turning on to get water comes out nothing.
I'm only the rent collector. Why don't you write a letter to the landlord?
Letters, schmetters. I'm always writing letters and nothing happens. Water I should be getting or I should be moving away.
You move out, someone else moves in. Flats are scarce, Mrs. Levine. Good day.
Good day. Herr Geschichte. Euer Banditen sind jetzt am meisten sind nicht Who is it?
Mr. Gaines. A good morning to you, Mrs. Albertini.
I non give you all of the rent this month.
Why not?
Because I get tired of waiting for the landlord to fix the plumbing. So, I had it done myself. And it cost me $6. This is the bill and the balance. $34.
Sorry, Mrs. Albertini. I'm here to collect $40. I have nothing to do with the repairs on the property.
But the plumbing had to be fixed, and I paid for it.
That's no concern of mine. You'll have to take that up with the company manager.
I will do not.
You pay the rent in full, or I'll have to put you out on the street.
I'll handle it, Mom. You heard what she said. We don't pay the rent until you take the plumbing bill off.
You keep your nose out of this.
Oh, yeah? Would you be coming around here trying to bulldoze my mother?
And don't you threaten me. I know my rights. I'll have the law on you for this, you young hoodlum.
None should have done that, Tony. Now he's going to make trouble for you.
I know it, Mom. But he had it coming to him. Somebody's going to push you around if I know anything about it. Well, I better beat it before he brings the cop. I'll see you later.
Is Tony here?
No.
What did you let him go for? You knew I was bringing back an officer.
I'm handling this, Mr. Gaines.
Yes, of course.
Did Tony strike Mr. Gaines?
Yes. After Mr. Gaines gave him a shove, if that's what you mean.
I only pushed him, officer, after he threatened me.
Well, Tony shouldn't have hit you, but you shouldn't have shoved him either. So I don't see any grounds for arresting the boy.
Oh, you don't, eh? Well, I do. You haven't heard the last of this, Mrs. Albertini.
I don't like rent collectors either. But tell Tony I want to see him.
I tell him, Mr. Casey. Tony is a good boy.
Sure he is. Well, good day to you, Mrs. Albertini.
Good day, Mr. Casey.
Maybe it's red. Make sure before you open up. Who is it?
Mr. Gaines, the rent collector.
That's just what the doctor ordered. Let him in.
Come on in.
Yes, sir. So you're the rent collector?
Yeah. The rent on this flat is due today.
Yes, so it is. What do you got in the bag, pal? Money?
Yeah, a little.
I'll bet it's crammed full. Let's have it.
No.
Give me that bag, sucker. Hey, Chick. Yeah. You go out in the alley and get that bag.
Okay, Chief.
here.
What happened, Chief?
Some kid beat Chink to that bank and went down the alley with it. How do you like that?
Would you know if you saw him again?
Sure, it's that Italian kid lives downstairs.
Hey, Chief, you must have slugged that collector awful hard. He ain't even blinking.
Yeah, that dumb cluck. Tie him up and close that big mouth of his. Come on, sucker. Come on, quit stalling. So I hit him harder than I thought. No use tying him up now. This ticker stopped working.
Business opportunities. Baloney. How are you going to invest any money if you ain't got any money? Here's one. Making big money by selling our new plastic novelties. No experience required. Many of our agents are making as much as $100 per week. Tony, where you been, man? You okay? Hiding out. How come? The rent collector got tough with my mom, so I smacked him. Hollered copper, huh? Yeah. Officer Case has been around looking for me? No. Maybe he was only bluffing. I didn't wait to find out. What are you looking for? Lost and found section. What you lose? Nothing. Say, if somebody lost a bundle of dough, they'd advertise for it right away, wouldn't they? Are you kidding? And how long before you could call it finders keepers? A couple of weeks. Nobody advertised for it. Hey, what are you getting at? Fellas, we got the down payment for the chicken farm. Oh, you been having a nightmare? Shut up a second. You come with me and I'll show you something that'll make your eyes pop out. Come on. I found this 3 weeks ago in that rubbish pile back there. And I want you to keep it a secret. Ew, what'd you get? Where'd you get that dough? You mean you found all this dough back there in that rubbish pile? Sure I did. You don't think I robbed a bank, do you? No, but that's a lot of lettuce to find in an empty store. Gosh, must be a couple grand. I don't know. I haven't counted it yet. Gee, maybe these escaping bank robbers hid it here. That's right. They were headed this way after they tried to stick up the Park Row Bank. It's bank money. We don't want any part of it. How are you going to tell whether it's bank money or what bank? That's right. There's nothing to show us who it belongs to. We don't know who hid it here. Or how long ago? This place has been empty for almost a year now. Then we ought to turn it over to the police department. Are you screwy? They might suspect we stole it and throw us in the can. Well, what are we going to do with it? I think we ought to count it first and see how much we got. Then we ought to put it in the bank. Oh, swell, and have them ask us where we got it, huh? Yeah, nobody'd ever believe that we found it. Wait, I mean, we'll tell them we're raising money to buy a chicken farm for a disabled vet. They ain't going to ask us who's donating the dough. No, that makes sense. And we ain't trying to hide anything. Maybe you got something there, Pat. Sure, I'll go home and get something to put it in. Never do to take it to the bank in this dirty old carton. Well, let's run home and put on our glad rags if we're going to a bank. Good idea. Yeah. What are we going to do with the dough? We're gonna put it... Gee, I didn't think there'd be this much trouble about starting a bank account. Why don't you stop, muttonhead? This is a big deal. We're putting all the dough in this bank. Anyhow, this guy here's got to talk it over with the board of directors. Oh, is that how it works? Certainly.
Here's your deposit book and checkbook. Now, whose signature will be on the checks?
Why, Pat and Tony. They're president and treasurer of the Eddie O'Brien Fund.
You mean trustees. Now, if Pat and Tony will sign this card, your account will be open.
Okay.
Boys, it's been a pleasure to serve you. And I want to commend you for your effort to make the future brighter for a soldier boy who gave so much for his country.
Well, we'll have to be going, Mr. Irwin. We're heading over to Jersey to close the deal on the chicken farm.
Goodbye, and good luck to you.
Goodbye.
Bye, Mr. Irwin.
Goodbye.
There you are, Mr. Jenkins. $1,000 deposit. Just let us know when you want the rest of the down payment.
Thank you. It'll take about 30 days to bring down the title and to issue a new deed to Mr. O'Brien.
Oh, that'll be swell.
Awfully glad Mr. O'Brien decided to buy my place. Such a good investment. And he seemed like such a nice fellow.
We're glad, too. He sure deserves a good break. Well, fellas, we better get out of here. Don't want to be late for our papers.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
See you
So
again.
long, boys. Good luck.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hiya, buddy.
Oh, hi.
Now, don't be in a rush. There's a guy upstairs wants to talk to you.
Who, me?
Yeah, you. Now, that's a rod, kid. So take it easy and play it smart, see? I'll get going. Keep going. It's the next floor. Go ahead.
It's Chink. Let him in. Got him okay, huh?
Yeah. Smart boy. Didn't make me any trouble at all, did you?
What'd you bring me here for? I didn't do nothing to you guys.
Oh, no? How about that satchel you picked up in the alley? That's ours.
What satchel?
Let's quit horsing around, kid. I was looking out that window. I saw you pick up that satchel and land with it.
All right, I copped it. But I haven't got what was in it now.
Maybe not, but you can get it.
You're mistaken, mister.
Why not?
Because it's deposited in the East Side Bank.
Quit the baloney. Come on, kid. Where's the dough?
Oh, it's where I said. I'm not lying to you, mister. Now, look, if you don't believe me, take a look at this.
He wasn't lying to us. What's the idea of banking that dope, kid? It's not yours. I got a good mind to call the cops and have you arrested.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
Why not?
Because that dough don't belong to you either. And besides, the cops happen to be looking for you.
Oh, so you know who I am?
Sure. You're Sorecki. I seen your pictures in the paper.
It's too bad you talk too much, kid. Now we're gonna have to take you with us.
Look, I won't talk anymore. Honest, I won't. Please don't take me away.
Quit squawking. We ain't gonna hurt you. You watch him, Monk, while Chink and I pack up. Come on, Chink.
Okay, Chief. Come on, sonny boy, sit down. Take some weight off your legs.
Hey, Chink.
Yeah.
When the cops find this, the kid will know enough to pin a murder rap on us. So what I want you to do is...
I got you, Chief.
Let me out, will you? I'll film a ride in New York.
I'll tell you when you can get out.
Okay. Shut up, will you? All right, sonny boy, come on, get up in the front seat. Get in there.
See you later, Chink. morning, Inspector.
Hello, O'Hara. Missing persons had an inquiry this morning from the Jarvis Corporation. They own a lot of tenements over on the east side. Seems one of their rent collectors is missing. Guy named Gaines.
Oh, temptation got the best of him. He went south with the dough?
No. The company manager doesn't seem to think so. He says Gaines is entirely dependable and very reliable. You'd better look into it.
Yes, sir. If you'll give me a map of Gaines' collection route and a list of the tenants, I'll try to find out who was the last one to see him.
I was going to suggest that and send Mr. Baxter here along with you.
Swell. Thanks, Mr. Fisk. You'll hear from the department as soon as we have anything to report.
Yes, I paid him the rent. Would you like to see the receipt?
If you don't mind, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it looks like you got this far.
Here it is, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Do you recall approximately what time Mr. Gaines got here yesterday?
Yes, I think it was around 10 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Albertini, we're from the Jarvis Corporation. Was our Mr. Gaines here yesterday to collect the rent?
Yes.
Can we see the receipt, please?
Why, I did not pay him. He will not give me credit for his $60 plumbing bill, so
So what?
So he say he come back later.
And did he come back later?
No, he none did.
Thank you, that's all. Who's here?
The name is J.C. Gordon. He sublet from Magruder 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Make a note of it. We'll come back later.
Yeah, I'll need 5 more of them. Yeah, there you go.
Don't I get any?
Oh, hold your horses. I got 5. There's 5 more.
What am I 5?
There you go. You stay off my route after this.
But where do you suppose Tony went?
I haven't the faintest idea. Funny he didn't say something to us about it. It's funny he didn't tell his old lady where he was going. What'd she tell you?
She asked me if I'd seen him. Said he didn't come home last night. He was heading for home when he said goodnight to me.
Hey, maybe this will answer something. Get a load of this. Reported missing. G.C. Gaines, veteran rent collector for the Jarvis Corporation, dropped out of sight yesterday while covering his route of tenement houses. When last seen, he was carrying a brown leather satchel believed to contain cash collections amounting to $4,000 or $5,000.
Do you suppose Tony tapped him for it?
No. Tony wouldn't do anything like that. How do you know he wouldn't? That dough he said he found amounted to about $5 grand.
Well, he said he found it 3 weeks ago. Well, why didn't he tell us about it sooner?
Wonder what happened to Gaines. What happened to Tony?
And we lost the trail in a tenement at 8108 Avenue C. Gaines collected the rent from all the tenants except one on the 3rd floor and one on the 4th floor. Then dropped out of sight.
That's strange.
Yeah?
There's a guy here who says he's a city trash collector with some information on the Gaines disappearance.
Send him in.
That's one of our money satchels, all right. Maybe the one that Gaines was carrying.
That's what I thought after reading the evening paper.
Now, where'd you find it?
In the alley in back of the tenement at 8108 Avenue C.
Do you remember about what time you picked it up?
Yeah, I'd say about 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
It was empty, of course.
Well, what do you think?
Well, thanks for bringing it in anyway.
Well, I'm working for City too, ain't I?
Oh, hello, Casey. What do you know?
Well, sir, a little before noon yesterday, Gaines comes running up to me on the street, all hot under the collar. He said a young hoodlum had assaulted him in one of the tenements, and would I come back and arrest him?
And did you?
No, sir, I didn't. It turned out that Gaines had started the rumpus, and when he tried to shove the Albertini kid around, he got a sock in the puss.
Did you say the Albertini kid?
Yes, young Tony. He's about 18, an amateur pug.
I think you got something there, Casey. Gaines disappeared right after he left the Albertini flat.
He did?
Yeah.
Harry, I think your next move is to take Casey and go have a little talk with Tony.
Yes, sir. Come on, let's go.
Good evening to you, Mrs. Albertini. Is Tony around?
I'm sorry, he's not here.
When do you expect him?
I don't know. He's not come home last night. All the day. I'm afraid something has happened to him.
Don't you get yourself all upset.
But he'll never stay away all night without us telling me.
Don't you worry, he'll come home. And when he does, tell him I want to see him.
He's not done anything wrong, has he?
Nothing we know of. We just want to get a little information from him.
Oh. I'll tell him when he comes home.
Fine. Good night, Mrs. Albertini.
Good night.
Poor soul. I hope Tony isn't messed up in this affair.
Yeah, but it looks kind of bad for him. Say, while we're here, why don't we call back at that Gordon flat? Maybe somebody's home now. Good idea. Come on. Gaines disappeared somewhere between here and Albertini's. Maybe we ought to break it in and take a look.
Oh, no need to break in. I brought a set of master keys.
Why didn't you say so?
Gee, you. Smell the stale tobacco smoke and garlic.
Say, didn't you tell me that the tenant subleased this flat from a family named Magruder?
Yeah, D. Magruder.
D. Danny. I wonder if that's the same Danny Magruder we sent up the river for burglary.
It's the same guy. I've seen him hanging around this neighborhood.
Uh-huh. We'd better case this flat with a fine-tooth comb. Well, if everything adds up right, the body underneath that sheet should be Gaines.
I'd rather not look at him.
Come on, somebody's got to identify him.
Oh, that's Gaines, all right. I think I got to get some fresh air.
You think Tony Albertini cooled him?
Could be. Gaines's body is found in the flat over Albertini's. The money satchel is found in the same block. The motive is evidently robbery. Better call homicide.
Yes, sir.
The police are of the opinion that the crime was committed by a person or persons knowing Gaines was a rent collector and carrying large amounts of cash in his satchel. Perhaps somebody living in the immediate neighborhood.
Hey, maybe we ought to lamb out of town.
What for? We ain't done nothing wrong.
Yeah, but supposing Tony did cool the guy. Then we're in an awful jam, ain't we?
So what? Taking a run-out powder would only make us look guilty. What are we going to do? Sit tight and wait for Tony to get back. Nothing else we can do.
Good morning, Mr. O'Hara. How do you do, Mr. Irvin? Inspector Shannon said you had some information concerning the Gaines murder case.
Not about the murder, but about a considerable sum of money that was deposited in this bank day before yesterday, under unique circumstances. Won't you sit down?
Thanks. Proceed, Mr. Irvin.
Well, I was somewhat surprised and a bit suspicious when 5 boys called on me to open an account in this bank. They had nearly $5,000 to deposit in cash.
5,000? No wonder you were suspicious.
Well, they seemed to be such nice boys. They told me they had been collecting this money to buy a chicken farm for a disabled war veteran. You probably know him, Eddie O'Brien, a policeman before he went into the service.
Sure. He's an old friend of mine. Who were the boys?
I can't recall their names, but 2 of them signed a signature card.
Mm-hmm. Tony Albertini. This is very enlightening.
And here are their signatures on the first check they issued.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Mr. Irvin. I think you've been instrumental in breaking the Gaines murder case. Good day.
Good day.
Guess you know who's ahead. Yeah, I am.
Who is Pat Flanagan?
I am.
Mm-hmm. Are these the boys that were with you when you deposited that money in the East Side Bank?
Yeah, all of them except Tony Albertini. We don't know where he is.
So I understand. Well, I'm arresting you boys on suspicion of murder and robbery.
Oh, gee, there's been some mistake. We didn't kill Mr. Gaines, honest.
Who said anything about Mr. Gaines? Come on, we're going to take a little ride.
Why, Colleen, dear, you've been crying. What's the matter?
It's Pat. He and the boys are in jail charged with murder. Oh, Eddie, what am I going to do?
Now, take it easy and tell me what it's all about.
All I know is what Officer Casey told me. There isn't a thing about it in the evening papers. Boys are accused of killing Mr. Gaines, the rent collector.
Nonsense. Why should they want to kill him?
They're supposed to have robbed him of his money satchel. Officer Casey said they deposited it in the East Side Bank, about $5,000.
There must be some mistake. If the boys were guilty of robbery, they certainly wouldn't be stupid enough to deposit in the bank.
Of course not. Those boys aren't criminals, and nobody can make me believe that they are.
I agree with you, Mom. Maybe I'd better run over to the jail and have a little talk with them.
That's the truth, Eddie.
Now, let me get this straight. On the day the rent collector disappeared, you say Tony had some trouble with him.
Yeah.
Then he took you to the empty store and showed you some money he said he'd found there.
That's right.
But you didn't see the satchel that Mr. Gaines usually carried around with him.
No, absolutely not.
Now, tell me the truth. After you deposited the money in the bank, did you write any checks on it?
Yeah, one.
For how much?
$1,000.
That's bad. You boys would have a better chance if you could give all the dough back. $1,000? What could you guys do with $1,000? Come on, give.
Do we have to answer that one?
Well, if you expect me to help you, you'll have to come clean with me.
Oh, all right. We was buying you and Colleen a farm.
Are you crazy kids?
Well, don't get mad, Eddie. We weren't handing you any charity package. We was just loaning you enough dough for a down payment.
Yeah, we figured you could make it pay the rest of the way.
Was it the Jenkins farm?
Yeah, that's the one you and Colleen raved so about.
You boys really floored me. I don't know what to say. I appreciate what you tried to do, even though it didn't turn out so good. Have you seen or heard from Tony since he disappeared?
No. I wished he'd come back. We believe he could straighten everything out.
Well, let's hope he does. In the meantime, I'll go over to Gaines' apartment where he was killed and see if I can find out anything to help you. And don't worry, I'll have you out of here in no time.
Swell.
He's regaining consciousness.
I didn't think the kid would make it with a skull fracture like that.
Youth.
Where am I?
In the hospital.
What am I doing in the hospital?
A motorist found you on the highway. You must have been hit by a car. Can't you remember?
Remember? Oh.
Are you in pain?
No, ma'am. I just remembered what happened to me.
What's your name, young fellow? We couldn't find any identification on you.
Tony Albertini.
Where do you live?
Manhattan and the Lower East Side. Gotta get in touch with my mom. She'd be worried to death about me.
Take it easy, son. I'll get in touch with your mother. Just give me her address.
8108 Avenue C. And ask her to tell Pat and the gang what happened to me.
Okay. Now you better shut your eyes and get some rest. Give him one of those end capsules.
Yes, Doctor.
You sent for me, Inspector?
Yes, O'Hara. Here's something I think you've been looking for.
You're right, Inspector. This ought to sew everything up. Do you mind if I take Eddie O'Brien along with me?
No, go ahead.
Thanks.
are you, Tony?
Hi, Eddie. Does Mom know I'm here?
Sure she does. Colleen's bringing her over tonight.
Swell. Do you know when Pat and the gang are coming?
They're not coming.
Why not?
They're in jail.
Oh, quit your kidding.
I'm not kidding. They're suspected of killing Gaines and robbed him of $5,000 in rent money. What do you know about it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, you do, and it isn't fair to let them take the rap for you.
Baloney, they're not taking any rap. I didn't kill the rent collector.
Tony, where did you find that money you said you found in the storeroom?
In an alley right near where I live. It was in a satchel.
Go on.
Well, I hid it in the storeroom and told the gang I found it. Is that really on the level about Gaines being cooled?
You know I wouldn't lie to you, Tony.
Where did they find him?
In the flat above yours?
I know who knocked him off. No wonder they wanted to get rid of me.
Who wanted to get rid of you?
I'm talking about Shadow Sorecki and his gang. How do you think I got over here in Long Island? Walked? Suppose you're thinking I cracked myself on the top with a hammer.
Now, take it easy, Tony. How do you know Sorecki killed Gaines?
Because he and a couple of henchmen were holed up in the flat where you found Gaines. I was waylaid in the hall and marched upstairs with a gun in my ribs. They saw me when I copped the satchel and wanted me to give them the money back. Well, Sorecki saw and I told him I had it in the bank and showed him the deposit book.
Sounds like he's telling a straight story.
Maybe. How did you get over on Long Island?
Well, I recognized Sorecki's pictures from the papers and didn't keep my big mouth shut, so they took me with them.
Do you think you could find that hill again?
To duck swim? If I was lucky, I'd get thrown out. The car burned up.
You'll be given a chance to find it as soon as you're well enough.
Wouldn't you rather find the place where the Sorecki gang is hiding out?
Yeah, where is it, Tony?
I'll tell you, but we split on the reward.
You can have all of it. Come on, give.
All right, you take the Williamsburg Bridge and keep going for 15 minutes. Then you turn left and keep going for 10. Then you turn left again and watch for a mailbox on the right side of the road. You find the name Stone and beneath it RR5. That's the place.
Thanks, kid.
So we'll all meet in Jersey City around 11. Be ready to take that Citizens National Bank at 1. Hey, Red, did Joe get us a couple of cars?
I'll say he did.
Good. Now, you and Monk and I will take care of the inside job, and Jake will cover the getaway. Got it? This time we keep going and we hit Chicago. Change of scenery will do us all good. Come on.
Oh, Sharky! Drop those guns.
I understand you boys have made restitution to the Jarvis Corporation of the $4,980, which you mistakenly regarded as finders keepers.
Yes, sir. Oh, I mean, Your Honor, Tony squared the beef out of the reward money he got.
And they very kindly lent me the money for the down payment on the chicken farm.
You mean the gang has? It's all for one with us.
Have you hired any help for your farm, Mr. O'Brien?
No, Your Honor, I haven't.
There's plenty of hard work in such an enterprise, isn't there?
Oh, yes, sir.
Do you think you could get the necessary amount of work from these 5 boys if I paroled them into your custody?
I think so, sir. I used to keep them pretty well in line when I was a cop.
Very well, they're in your care. But if any one of them falls down on the job, just let me know.
I will, sir. Thank you very much.
Hey, quit your pushing and crowding around. There's enough here for everybody. Hey, which one of these things gives chocolate milk?
Hey, Eddie, what do you want me to do with this fertilizer?
Spread it on the strawberry patch and dig it down.
Are you kidding?
No. Don't you know that's the best thing to put on strawberries?
I don't know. I always use sugar and cream. Hey, Chicky the Bull! Come and get it! Hey, no, grub's on. Come on!